Hello, Wisconsin, live from the Deer District. We are kicking off a full day of live broadcasting right in the heart of the Deer District in Milwaukee, across the street from where the GOP debate is happening tonight. I am here with my good friend Greg Bach right next to me.
I feel like you're about to break into song.
I know. Well, don't tempt me. I was a musical theater kid. And of course, we got Jane Vetnair in Waukesha on the board. How are you doing this morning, Jane?
I am good. So good to see you both. It looks like a lovely, lovely place.
It is a lovely place, and we luckily have air conditioning because it is only 10 a.m. and it is very hot outside. And we've seen a couple joggers, and both of us are saying, "What's wrong with you?"
You're terrible. That's awful.
But so far, have to say, fairly calm. Mm-hmm. The vibe so far, we're right down on Old World 3rd Street /MLK we can see the Fiserv literally behind us. If you're watching the stream right now, you probably can't see it because we're a little backlit, but it is there. And so far, very calm. We'll see how things start to erupt throughout the day. But
was it tough getting there?
No. I think street closures are starting around 3, which is when things will be harder. I think even for our. We have a full day of lineups. Yeah. Almost everyone's show is here for the rest of the day, starting with us, then Town Call, then Todd Alba's show. Matt Flynn is recording from here. And then the Devil's Advocates will be having their own party at Roman Coin later today, which is about a mile away from where we are on Brady Street in Milwaukee. And then at 6 p.m., we have some pregame coverage with me. I'll be back on air tonight, along with Todd Alba, and we will be joined by Rick Wilson and Trygve Olsen from the Lincoln Project. Ben Wickler's going to be here for a little while. Charles Franklin's going to be here for a little bit. It's going to be a full day.
I just feel like you're bragging.
So my question is, for everyone who's listening, will you watch tonight? Are you interested? And if you are watching, what question would you ask, and to whom, if you were the moderator? 844-967-2789. Are you going to watch tonight? Do you not care? Are you watching for purely entertainment purposes? But more importantly, beyond how much the Trump in the room / the elephant in the room will still, dominate, because I don't know how you don't talk about him. What else beyond Trump do you want them to actually answer? 844-967-2789. I'm going to take a breath. Greg Bach, what do you want them to answer tonight?
Well, honestly, I want them to, all Trump notwithstanding, and I want to say, I would love to see one of them come out, and I think it will be Chris Christie who would say, Trump lost the election. He's had no problem saying that. But all these problems they're tweeting about quote-unquote Biden economics, that they're saying how bad. I want them to lay out a little bit of the proof, and then also, what are you going to do that's viable to put the country on track versus what you see happening now, instead of it being, I want to see some substance. I want to hear a little detail. I want to hear some stuff. But, do I think that's going to happen? I don't know.
Well, I actually think, everything I've been reading about the moderators, I think it's gonna be the real debate, but I always say it is 2 hours though, because sometimes when you have 8 people, it's like, how much time is anyone gonna have? Because I think, for me, I feel like with debates, there's always a little left, what did I actually get out of this? What did I actually learn?
Yeah.
But for why I think tonight is really important is, this is the shot, right? This is the shot for anyone to come out swinging and who is polling at, most of these people are polling at 1%. I think Vivek Ramaswamy is 9%.
Yeah, he's a star right now.
He's a star, which is hilarious because you know that they're aligned on stage based on their polling.
Wow.
So Ron DeSantis and Vivek are in the middle, and then they fan out based on where they're polling, which I think is a very funny way to organize the debaters.
It's like being picked last, for kickball or something. That's a beautiful thing.
I think we have a caller right now.
We do. Jack from Merrimack is on the line. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning. The debate lineup is sort of like when you line up members or qualifiers for a big track meet or a big swimming meet. They start out in the middle with the fastest ones, and then they work to the outside. That isn't why I call, though. My question is that I would ask these so-called debaters is this. There was an attempted violent coup against our American government and democracy that took place on January 6th in 2021. It was clearly pre-planned by a fairly large number of upper-level Republicans. How are you going to deal with that? And also, there was very clearly an attempted political coup to overthrow our government involving a minimum of 84 upper-level Republicans who signed on unlawfully saying they were legal electors. They weren't. And also there were obviously people involved in that pre-planning. How is if the Republican Party again gains control of our Congress and our administration, how are you going to deal with these facts? That's my question.
I think that's a great question.
I think that's a great question.
I think that I will hope that they're going to ask point blank, like, is Joe Biden president? Was the election stolen? And just see all 8 of them what they say. And who evades it and finds a diplomatic way to answer that question, and who, I think Asa Hutchinson, Chris Christie, Mike Pence Mike Pence has basically said that. Ron DeSantis has basically said it. Will Tim Scott say it? Will Nikki Haley say it? Will Vivek say it? I don't know.
Well, if Nikki doesn't want to screw up her chance for a VP now, she's not going to say it.
Thanks for the call, Jack. We're asking you whether or not you're going to watch the debate tonight, and what question would you ask, and to whom would you ask it if you were moderating tonight's debate? 844-967-2789. That's 844-96-PARTY. We are live in the Deer District. What I think is going to be really interesting, obviously, as a recurring theme on this show, is the smushmortion question. Abortion question. Oh. Don't you remember 40-year-old virgin? The smushmortion?
Oh, no.
Jane, that wasn't your cup of tea? Because it's in the general public, it is a losing issue for Republicans. But in their primary, they have to have a stance on it.
Well, and they're going to be stancing all the way tonight. They're going to be beating their chests and saying exactly what they need to do and the talking points they've been given by the various groups they work for. And that it's only then after whomever makes it through the pack is going to have to somehow wiggle themselves just a tiny bit to the center. But they're going to be getting claps and ovations from people tonight because they're going to go right on track and they will not deviate.
Well, because I think that across the board, across the 8, because basically the question is would be like a national abortion ban versus states' rights, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder if that will just be the point blank question. It's like, are you on board? Do you support a 15-week abortion ban nationally or not?
I think you're gonna. Yeah, I mean, you'll see Mike Pence will be like, "Hey, I'll do 15 days." I'll do 15.
I think he's already said that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like with that question whether or not, I guess national versus states' rights is a more interesting question because at least it will force them to discuss the issue a little bit further because like tonight, I feel like it's going to be just talking points and catchphrases galore.
And it'll be interesting because I was looking at this last night as I was prepping for today. In 2015, for the first debate, the last time there was a Republican primary that was very crowded, 24 million people watched. There's a lot.
Yeah, I mean.
And I'm interested this time around what viewership will look like and how many people are interested. Again, obviously, the Trump in the room is the competing programming that he is doing with Tucker, which I think is just on Twitter.
I think so, because I think that's what Tucker's show is on.
It's just on Twitter.
I mean, even X. It's on X.
Sorry, excuse
X.
me, of course.
Show some respect.
Put some respect on my name. Because otherwise, like that last time, having a great performance, again, like this is the opportunity for someone to actually shoot out of the cannon and be a contender, because it's so unprecedented right now as far as the fact that we have one candidate with 91 charges against him and 4 different indictments who is leading the polls by 40 points.
America.
And no one has ever lost that lead. I was reading as far as anyone who's ever been polling that far ahead has never ended up not like clinching the primary.
I mean, if we're talking about who could possibly take it away from Trump, that's a conversation. But like, I think if you're talking about the 8 who are going to be on stage tonight, I think the one person who has the real chance to define himself again is Chris Christie, because he kind of doesn't care what anyone thinks, even though,
which I love.
But then but on the other side of the coin,
he's also a great debater.
He's a great debater. He pulls no punch. I feel like he is the polished version of Trump in that sense. He can go on stage and debate with ferocity and fire without saying things you're like, ooh, gah. You know, like Chris Christie is a smart man. The only problem is he came out so hard against Trump and then he aligned himself again. So,
all right. Well, we are taking your calls and your texts on whether or not you're going to watch the debate tonight. What question do you want to ask if you were the moderator, and to whom? Or any other predictions? And actually, later today in the show at 11:30, we have a game of ourselves of the most likely awards, GOP edition. We're going to take a quick break. This is As Goes Wisconsin, 844-967-2789. What would you ask in the debate tonight?
Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. We are live in the Deer District ahead of tonight's big GOP debate. We're very excited to be here. We're monitoring the premises to see how exciting things get. So far, very calm.
I'm monitoring the heat. It's very hot outside.
It is very hot.
Very hot outside.
It is very hot in Waukesha, Jane?
It is hot in Waukesha as well. Yes, I think this is a wide-reaching hot.
Wide-reaching hot, yeah. So I would say
meteorological term. Wide-reaching hot.
Yes.
Take care of yourself today. If you can, stay indoors,
please,
and in the air conditioning.
And
please
your pets.
do that.
Closing
and your
schools
pets and your children. Yeah, MPS is closed today because it is too hot. It's still confusing to me that they started this early, but that's a wholly different topic. We never started.
Back in my day, we didn't have school. I worked on the farm most times.
All right, well, we're asking you, are you going to watch the debate tonight? And if so, what question would you ask and to whom if you were the moderator? We got Tom from LA on the phone.
Good morning, Tom.
Morning. First off, we the people ultimately are the government, and we must never forget that. The power lies within we the people. However, we do need to get money out of politics. First off, for me, I'm not watching it.
You're not watching it, boycotting it.
I'm not watching it because, one, I have my TV and I've had it on parental control for the last probably 20 years for Fox, so I don't actually get Fox anymore.
So you do it to yourself? You put the parental controls on for yourself?
Yeah, so I don't have to see anything with Fox.
Sick burn, Tom. Sick
burn.
That
is some discipline.
Fox so-called news. Fox, entertainment news, I guess. And then also, I'm not going to watch it because it's just going to be about who's going to get the best gotcha line and who is going to be the best one that went after Trump or whatever. And you'll probably see that on Twitter or something like that. I mean, first off, these things are not even debates anymore. They're not going to debate any policy. They're going to debate all social issues. They shouldn't be asking about abortion. They should be asking about a woman's right to choose. Because just because a woman has the right to terminate a pregnancy doesn't mean that she necessarily chooses to actually terminate. So I get really, really up in arms. I have for years about the way that that's even phrased. Because, like I said, women have the right to choose either way. So that would be, I guess, if they're going to go social issues, that would be it. But I'll see it, like I said, some gotcha moment, and our media eats that up, and it's going to be free media again for the Republican Party, like it is 7 days a week on everything, except for, civic media. Thank God for civic media, and Crudy and also Sage, because, yeah, the whole state, even the whole country, needs more civic media and less of this craziness that's going to happen tonight. It's just going to, it's Brett Baer asking the questions, too. Give me a break. It's just, it's basically...
Not a fan.
Hey, Tom.
You didn't like his Trump interview, Tom? You didn't like how hard he went on Trump?
Circle, you know what? Huh?
So you didn't like how hard he went on Trump in his interview a couple months ago?
No, please. Remember when he had Barack Obama, and all he did with Barack Obama was interrupt every sentence he did during the Super Bowl? That was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, these people are... They're just, like I said, if they want to talk policy, if they want to talk about how a person's supposed to make it on, $7.35 an hour, hey, I'm there. If they want to talk about how a person's supposed to afford their mortgage or rent, or how they're supposed to afford their health care, or how they're supposed to, pay for their medical bills or their taxes, I'm sure they'll talk about taxes because that'll be all lowering taxes. So I know what they're going to say. But you really think they're going to ask one policy question at the so-called debate?
Well, we all know that I'm a cockeyed optimist, but I think so. I think that there's a huge, especially when you think about Ukraine, and that's one issue where not everyone on that stage agrees. And so as far as foreign policy goes, which maybe not is sexy to the average voter as far as understanding it, but I think there's plenty of policy questions to ask, and I think some will be asked. But also in a 2-hour debate where everyone can only spend 90 seconds answering, are you going to get a satisfactory answer?
Yeah,
Probably
of course
not.
not. Yeah. So, but Tom, we always thank you for your very
Tom, we love
opinion.
hearing from you. So thank you for calling, and we'll probably hear from you tomorrow on your what you saw on X. So thanks for call. I'm doing it. I'm making the switch.
844-967-2789. 844-967 party. From the where am I? Yes. Question for the GOP: as a candidate for federal office, what role do you feel the federal government has in regulating medical treatments, including abortion and birth control? And having been elected to office in the past, do you support your home state's election process and the results, regardless of the outcome?
Good question.
Hammer them on their thoughts on the election, because that's just absolutely this 180 turn of voting early is again. Well, and you got to vote early. Got to vote early now. It's
Bank
important.
your vote.
Bank that vote. It's important to vote
But
early.
the 2020 election was still suspicious.
Absolutely suspicious, and I'm glad we didn't do it then, because whoo boy howdy.
But I also think it's an interesting question as far as what's happening at the border, because we haven't talked about it a ton on this show yet, but Greg Abbott is using lethal force at the border, and should we be doing that?
He's using Bond villain type force.
He is using Bond villain type force.
Oh, he's such an idiot.
All right. Well, we got to take another break, but we still want to hear from you. Are you going to watch the debate tonight? What question would you ask, and to whom would you ask it if you were the moderator? 844-967-2789. I am Kristin Brey. He is Greg Bach. Jane Matnair is in the holding down the fort at WAUK. We are live downtown in the Deer District, taking your calls on your thoughts about the debate, because we're right in the heart of it. Going to be here all day. This is As Goes Wisconsin. 844-967-2789. We'll be right back. Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristin Brey, here live in the Deer District at Whitetail with Mr. Greg Bach. How are you doing today, sir?
Well, I'm trying to stream it. Hello.
Hello.
Hats Tip
off.
the hat. Hello.
Jane Matnair in our Waukesha studio on the board, and we are taking your calls and your texts, answering the question, what would you ask if you were the moderator tonight for the first Republican debate? What would you like to hear them answer? What would you hold them accountable to answer, even if they were a little slippery in their answer?
Oh, they'll be slippery.
We have a couple comments on the live stream, which you are always welcome to watch. You can see Jane Jane's eye rolls, which are it's always a big selling point for some people.
Apparently.
Jane's eye rolls.
In undiplomatic face of Jane Matnair.
I think Jane's eye roll should get their own Twitter account.
But you could always watch us on the live stream at As Goes Wisconsin on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And the first one we got from Tony. I'd like to ask Ron DeSantis if he's capable of forming sentences.
Oh, Tony.
Because the
True.
expectations are set so low for him. I think by just answering a question, he gets positive coverage out of this. That's interesting. I feel like he has not gotten a lot of positive coverage lately.
No, I don't. I feel like he is the one guy that everyone really
Loves
likes
to
to
dump
beat up
on.
on. Yeah, he just and honestly, he does it to himself.
He's kind
just,
of easy to beat up
yeah.
on.
He's just a dum dum, and just like he doesn't know how to like function. Like it's like a computer that's like operating at 75% of capacity, and the other 25% is just confounded by everything, whether it's children eating ice cream or a person wearing a mask or white boots. Like he just can't function.
He's like an early robot model with a continual glitch.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like if you were trying to play Pong in 2023. It's not going to be great, but it's fine.
It's like, it passes the time.
Yeah, exactly. More
If
so
I
you're like
miss or staring off into space, I'll play the 1970 Atari Pong.
I have this terrible version of Pong. You want to play it? I don't know.
All right. We have Those Temples on YouTube says, I want to know if they believe in separating church and state, specifically in regard to school policy. And I would pay to see them each answer the question, did slavery benefit slaves?
Oh, that's a good one.
Temples, I'm going to go ahead and answer that first one for you. No, they don't. No, they will not.
They will not. They will not be asking that
They would build
question.
schools in churches, inside schools, inside a tinier, bigger church. I don't know, but they would love to have school and church everywhere.
And then finally, we have Sarah Lake asking, I'd like to hear them talk about their views on whether religious freedom respects all religions / no religion, or only their puritanical BS.
Sarah, I'm going to go ahead and answer this
fun.
one too. Yeah, I think we're going to tell you the same thing. They don't care about other religions. They're all just waiting for Christ. You know what's interesting though? Like we've been on the air for over 30 minutes. We've talked about religion. We've talked about taxes. We've talked about no one, and I think for a good reason, no one has brought up the question of guns. We have not mentioned no, not those kind of guns, Chris. Guns, and their thought, because this is another thing. Like with Schmorschen, guns tonight is probably just going to be another just standing on their soapbox and regurgitating talking points to keep that A+ NRA rating. Because at this point, it feels like anyone who's listening to this show feels like asking about guns is a fool's errand.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because I was reading, this was not a debate that's open to the public. Obviously, Fiserv is a massive. It's where it is a massive stadium that can hold thousands of people.
Of
and
Giannis.
I think it's somewhere between. I think it's around 7,000 tickets were handed out for tonight. So that's a lot of people.
A little more than half.
But it's but the fact of the matter is they were selective in who could get those tickets, right? So I know Walker's group, Young American Foundation, they have a big thing. Like as the day goes on, behind us is going to get pretty crowded. Like people are going to be walking around. There's like parties happening. Vivek has some big tour bus that he parked here yesterday. So like they purposefully, thank you, are activating.
I heard a V in there, but okay.
Did I?
You did.
Did I just add a V to the
You
word?
did, but go on.
They're activating the space, right?
Yeah.
Where, we all gathered for the 2021 when the Bucks won. That whole space is going to have lots of people in there today. And I think specifically they're trying to get a lot of young people. I had reached out to some of the young conservatives that I know asking if they potentially wanted to be part of the pregame tonight. And I got no's from everyone because they're all going. Like they all got tickets to go and they have to be in there by 6:30. So the timing didn't work out. But in the attempt that conservatives are trying to combat the firewall that has been young liberal voters in the last couple of elections, it's going to be a lot of young people in there. And I think the thing with debates now is depending on who the audience is, if you have this curated audience that is cheering and clapping for certain answers, it sways I think when you're watching it at home, who's doing the best?
Yeah.
And like, as performers, you and I, it's hard not to play into the thing that's going to get you the claps, whether or not that's actually your real answer.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, when I tell a joke on stage, my joke's just funny. I don't feel like I pander to the people in the room to get the best claps. That's not true. I do all the time. What? Are we talking about?
I was going to say,
Whatever. Yes, everything you said, yes. And also, I'm wondering, with this deficit of young voter energy that the GOP tends to have that they do have right now, and they've been sliding over the years, do they really think that any one of those 8 candidates are going to energize young voters who aren't already going to either be voting for Trump or voting for the Republican candidate? Do they think any one of those 8 are going to bring the fire that's going to make some kid in Chicago or Austin say, maybe this is my year to vote for this party? It seems ridiculous.
But I think that's why I don't think they're going to bring up the gun issue at all. I don't think they're going to.
I agree.
They're not going to. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to bring attention to it, and certainly not with young people, because we know that the kids who we have put through active shooter drills for all of their lives, most of them are not fans of guns.
yeah. And actually, that is one of the things about. So most of the questions are going to come from the moderators, but there are some pre-recorded video questions from young people.
Yeah.
I think from YAF that will be asked, and obviously those have been like cherry picked, and who knows what they'll be about. But there is some questions from young people being asked tonight.
I think you can bring up guns in a way that makes them look Second Amendment strong. I mean,
Probably.
the most simple, basic ones, and then moving on with no follow up, of course.
Actually. All right. Well, we're still taking your thoughts on what question you would ask and to whom if you were the moderator tonight. 844-967-2789.
Dexter from the 541 says, how do you propose to improve the economic measures such as GDP and the median wage?
It's a good one.
Work harder.
They're not asking you, Greg.
No, I'm saying I'm saying that's what they're going to say. I know they're not asking me. I'm not running for president.
But it was interesting because Bill Glauber and Tyler Katzenberger from Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel went to the Kenosha County Fair, your stomping grounds,
Heck yeah.
and the Dodge County Fair, and we're asking people, we're asking folks, like, what do you want to hear? And a lot of those people, if you go read the article, a lot of them were Trump supporters, but some of them did say, like, as far as the fact of, like, those questions, like, and stuff that we continue to say is, like, whether it's gas, whether it's inflation, some of these things that are global problems that the president as a single entity in the executive branch only has so much control over.
Or no
but it's still
control over.
people that, like, that's what they care about.
Yeah.
And so I guess it is a good question, and how they will answer it will be interesting.
We have one more from Lynn from Economowoc. Good morning. My daughter and I will be playing Granny Bingo with Esther Flonase at Milwaukee Improv, so count us out of the debate.
I am now the unofficial host of Esther Flonase's Drag Bingo at Lakefront once a month. So that's a fun time, folks.
Is Esther Flonase a drag queen?
Oh, absolutely. Of the highest order. Esther is fantastic.
Tell me more.
So you come to Lakefront, you get some cards. We play 10 games. There are great prizes.
What kind of the prizes?
Anywhere from tours of the brewery to crowlers to Black Friday bottles of beer, which are like 2019, 2018 vintages that are getting better with age. Culver's gift cards, but you get 2 hours of Esther having fun, and I banter with her, but we go back and forth.
Okay.
It's free. I've told you about this. It's free. Come on out. I think the next one's going to be the third Tuesday of September at Lakefront. Starts at 7.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So Esther Flonase.
Yep.
844-967-2789. 844-96-PARTY. If you call, please be patient with me because I can't always get to you when we're chatting live. So just let it ring for a little bit. Text from John from Menominee Falls. What I would like to know is, if there's going to be some sort of cleansing ceremony after the debate, maybe a shaman or a holy person to get rid of the evil spirits and bad juju from the home of the Milwaukee Bucks.
We're just burning it down and rebuilding it. That's it. That's
just like a truck full of sage pulls up in front of Fiserv, and there's a league of volunteers to just sage the entire building.
3 buses of my.
Couldn't we just bring our sage and have him walk around?
Oh, that's same.
That is a very good joke, Jane.
Good joke. Good pun.
Good.
Is that a pun?
No, it's a play on words. It's a play on words.
Okay.
It's like 3 busloads of my Aunt Mary, just like, well, we'll take care of this.
And text from the 608. It's record heat here today in Milwaukee. Deadly wildfires in Hawaii. Major flooding in California. Yep. Record warm waters in Florida. What can we do about this reality? By the way, this will never be asked.
Oh, I see. I thought you were, once again, I'm like hold corporate tyrants accountable, but nah.
It'll be interesting to be able to do the debrief tomorrow, like what was asked and what was not asked.
Oh, absolutely.
And why.
Yeah. What was actually the one for me the most interesting is what is going to be asked that is going to be totally skated past.
Just like and no one's gonna be like, you didn't answer the question.
Exactly. That for me is always the best part is like, what do you think of this? It's like, well, in my policies, I like to talk to kids. What?
Well, it's also because the next GOP debate that's hosted by the RNC is on September 27th in Simi Valley, California, and like, is there going to be a huge drop off? Like, if no one comes out of the gate as wow, that was really impressive, like sees a huge jump in polls after tonight, will anyone care about the next one? Not
unless Trump shows up. He's got to show up to the second one for people to care. And I think the GOP, the RNC, and the networks know this now at this point. If he doesn't show up and it's just a bunch of, flopping fish on stage tonight, no one's going to care. Because there's nothing to, it's like, oh, well, I want to watch 2 hours.
Which is terrible for ratings for because is Fox hosting the next one too?
I don't know.
Because if you think about a drop off of 20, like just from advertising and eyeball dollars, if there was 24 million viewers in 2015, if there's a huge drop off tonight, and specifically if no one comes out of the gate swinging tonight and makes this more of a race, does anyone care a month from now? And, that's for people who just care about the bottom line. They want this to be, it's like the NBA finals where you think that they're actually rigging it so they can just get another game. You're like, is this like, are the refs really calling this? So it behooves everyone if there's 7 games instead of 5.
Of course. Oh, yeah. That's like $1 billion difference.
They just start
and we'll know
like fake poll numbers to make things that seem like a tighter race than it actually is. All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to switch gears a little bit and take a little bit of a break from talking about the debate, but we're going to come back at 11:30 and play a game.
A palate cleanser?
That's what we do on this show. So we're going to have the most likely awards GOP edition at 11:30. But when we come back, quick trip.
Oh boy.
Getting in the NIL game, except not with an athlete.
Nope.
It's a little unexpected.
It's not me.
Very Wisconsin story. So we're going to talk about that after the break. And at the top of the next hour, Derek Mosley is going to be here. And we're going to talk about a incident that happened at the state fair.
I love Derek.
We all love Derek. All right. We're going to take a quick break. This is As Goes Wisconsin. We'll be back in just a minute. So many things I'd say if only Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristin Brey. She is Jane Metnair. Greg Bach is next to me. We are live in the Deer District. Kicking off the day.
Kicking off the hot day.
We got, a very hot day.
Hot day.
But if you have not heard, Civic Media all day down in the Deer District for the GOP first Republican debate tonight. We're kicking off the day. Then from here, we got Town Call is going to be broadcasting live from Whitetail, along with then Todd Alba will be here. Matt Flynn will be here. Then you have Roman Coyne for Devil's Advocates, where they will be hosting people who want to come have a live show, see those guys do their thing live. That's about a mile away from the Deer District. And then we will be having a pregame here tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. until the debate kicks off.
Some big guns.
What?
Some big guns going to be on this panel
I thought
tonight.
after our last segment, I thought she meant like actual guns that were
No,
going to
no,
be. I
no,
was like,
no.
what are you talking about, Jade? Like,
Oh.
no, you mean like big personalities? Like,
Yes.
We're gonna get on the, we're getting on the roof of Whitetail. We're gonna fire guns into the air and
you got to
just
be
see
careful
what
these
happens.
days, Jade. You got to use your words specifically,
Carefully.
accurately, carefully.
I understood what she was saying.
I just heard big guns, and I was like, wait, what?
The hugely popular AC/DC hit "Big Guns" from the last Hero soundtrack. I got that.
You got that?
I totally
that.
understand.
You and Jane,
You understand
same
that.
wavelength
Yeah.
all the time.
Catch up, Kristen.
But yes, so all day, keep your dial tuned into Civic Media or your streaming app opened because we have coverage all day and are having a great time.
Yes, indeed.
But I'm going to take a little bit of a break and talk about this story that I think is so utterly Wisconsin. So are you familiar with all the changes that have happened in college sports? As far as, because for a long time, if you were a college athlete,
Oh, yes.
you could not get paid for anything. Like
Correct.
people have gone to jail over this. Like this has been
Lost
a big
scholarships,
thing.
yeah.
Lost scholarships. But as far as trying to keep the sports pure and for the love of the game, despite the fact that the NC2A and these schools were making lots and lots and lots of money
Yeah.
off of children. So that's now changed with NIL, which stands for name, image, likeness. So now there's young people making lots of money because they have huge social media followings.
Get your money.
They can get brand deals. But leave it to Quick Trip.
Yeah.
Quick Trip announced their first collegiate NIL partnership yesterday. Not with a student athlete, but with a student. It is Will Hazeltine, and he's the first college student to team up with Quick Trip under NIL. He is a marching band. He is a member of the marching band at UW-Madison. He is a mellophone player, which looks like a trumpet.
It's a bigger trumpet.
It's a bigger trumpet.
bigger
Have
trumpet.
you? Did you know
Yeah.
before I just saw the picture? Did you know
Yeah.
what a mellophone was?
Yeah, I listen to
Do
a
you
lot.
play?
I don't play the mellophone, but being a fan of
Marching bands?
No, I was going to say Chuck Mangione. He plays a variety of different horns, mainly the cornet and the flugelhorn, but he does break out the mellophone from time to time.
Is it a deeper sound than a trumpet?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a little bit, not much.
I was
It's like when you have that many members on a marching band, you got to like divvy it up. You're like, you can't have 30 trumpet players. Like you're doing the mellophone, you got the cornet, you got, the tiny trumpet.
And so he is his passion for music and Wisconsin and Quick Trip has earned him a package deal with Quick Trip, and it's the first NIL. I can believe actually. It's so hokey.
I'm a little upset.
Why?
Let's see here. I play music. I love Wisconsin.
You're not a college student.
I was one once. I went to the University of Wisconsin system. I have a degree for which the school loan I have paid off. I love Quick Trip. I went there once this week in a day.
In a day. But yeah, so I just thought that was very interesting as far as how how Quick Trip is using their brand deals because they're not my good friend Alex Worley has a brand deal with Quick Trip. Charlie Barron's obviously sells his CDs there.
Yeah.
He has a lot of stuff going on with Quick Trip. But yeah, so I'm curious of what do you think the brand deal is like the social media posts are just going to be Will like playing the mellophone?
Well, I hope so. I hope so. But I also hope they take this into flow stratosphere where it's like, oh, Will, like he's known for, like, Flow from progressive ads.
Yeah.
You will know Will from Quick Trip.
Quick
Like,
Trip ads.
it's not just like a couple of TikToks or a standing cardboard cutout. It's going to be like
Does this pigeonhole him for life though? Maybe he's got bigger dreams than just being a Quick Trip.
being a professional mellophone player. I doubt it.
So speaking of other recognizable faces, although Will maybe not recognizable yet, but Milverine.
Yes.
So if you are not a Milwaukee person, Milverine, how would you explain Milverine, Greg?
Imagine Hugh Jackman's dad.
This is a real person.
Okay, so actually, it's Hugh Jackman. Imagine Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in X-Men 2 specifically. A little shorter, older, allergic to shirts, marching up and down the streets. And I say marching, I'm not kidding you. he marches with a purpose, as if everywhere he's going, he will find crime.
So this is a real person who lives in Milwaukee who is spotted, everywhere, and it is a character in Milwaukee, and he's referred to as the Milverine. He's been around for a decade.
But do not call him a character. He will not be happy.
No, but I mean, saying like it's David Gruber's a character,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Like a public persona
exactly.
in Milwaukee. He threw out the first pitch at the Brewers game last night, and the big question was, is this man going to wear a shirt or not? Are the Brewers going to force him to wear a shirt? Because I would guess his instinct would be to not.
I feel like
one. But that was my first question. I don't think I was alone.
And I feel like if you have to ask that question, do you even know Milverine? I mean,
that's fair.
What are we talking about here? What are we talking about?
But you did confirm.
Confirm, shirtless.
Shirtless.
Continues the streak of no shirt.
Threw it out, shirtless. I think the shirt was tucked into his pants. Do we know how good the throw was?
It had good form. He had overhand, just good pitch. It looked good. I feel like he practiced. I haven't seen the video.
Okay.
I'll see the video. Before the show today is done, I'll catch video.
Okay.
But
he looks athletic.
If you had to guess what kind of dog Milverine had, what would you guess?
My gut instinct says pit bull, but I feel like that's wrong.
It's very wrong.
What is it?
It's a Chihuahua.
Nice.
He walks around town with a Chihuahua. It's adorable because he still has that look and that purpose with a tiny little dog next to him. Little doggo. The doggerine.
Oh, all right. Well, we are going to take a break for the top of the hour news, but when we come back, we're going to talk to our good friend, Judge Derek Mosley, about teaching Black history, teaching history of people of color in this country, and a specific reason why it's so important. Because there was a certain thing that happened at the state fair this last month. And so we're going to talk about that with him. And so you should stay tuned. It's going to be a great conversation. So this is As Goes Wisconsin. We'll be back in just a minute.
And made you king.